Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there's this underlying expectation of absolute precision.
Oh,
Oh,
totally. It feels like engineering.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
you fall, you break your arm, the x-ray prints out that stark, high contrast image of a jagged white line, and the doctor just points at it. There it is.
Right. It's binary. Broken or not broken. You don't have to guess what the bone is thinking. We find immense comfort in that kind of categorization.
We really do. We like our problems to be visible, measurable, and objective.
Yeah, but then
But then you step into the infinitely messier world of human communication. And specifically, I'm talking about what happens when you strip away every single piece of visual evidence.
which changes everything. Suddenly that x-ray machine is completely useless.
You are flying blind. So we're looking at a landscape today that is honestly terrifying for a lot of professionals.
Okay.
I am talking about the phone call.
It's a huge source of anxiety for so many people.
It really is. So welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today our mission is decoding the secret language, the hidden architecture, and the unwritten rules of phone conversations in English.
And we are grounding our discussion today in some fantastic source material.
Yes. We're looking at the work of language educators Leo and Tina, specifically their real English conversation breakdowns from the Professional English Phone Conversation Guide.
They've cataloged 100 essential phrases used natively. But as you start looking at the mechanics of what they're teaching, you realize this isn't just a vocabulary lesson.
No, not at all.
It is a masterclass in psychology. What's fascinating here is that we largely operate under this collective illusion that a phone call is just a regular face-to-face conversation, simply with the screen turned off.
Right, like it's the exact same thing, just audio only.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But linguistically, neurologically, and socially, that is a complete fallacy. Phone English is practically a distinct dialect.
Whole different dialect.
Yeah. It has its own highly specific rules, its own evolutionary adaptations, and its own unique etiquette. When you remove the visual plane, when you completely remove the nodding, the eye contact, the micro-expressions.
The slight lean forward that shows someone is listening, right?
Yes, all of that. When that's gone, the words themselves have to bear double the weight. They have to convey the data, but they also have to constantly confirm that the connection itself still exists.
Wow, that makes so much sense. I think that's why making a phone call, whether it is in a second language or even in your native tongue, induces this very specific, almost paralyzing anxiety.
Because you're so exposed.
Right. Think about it. You are entirely stripped of your visual safety nets. If you stumble over a word in person, you can, I don't know, wave your hands, you can point, you can smile apologetically.
You can physically show that you're trying to find the word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on the phone, you only have the vibration of your vocal cords.
That's it.
It's like driving a car down the highway. The engine is running, the wheels are turning, but someone has smashed your dashboard.
That is a terrifying analogy, but it's spot on.
You have no speedometer, no temperature gauge, no dials telling you if you're overheating or about to crash.
You're just guessing based on the sound of the engine.
Right. So today, speaking directly to you, the listener, whether you are prepping to negotiate a massive contract with customer service, book a table at a restaurant, or just survive a corporate conference call, we are going to equip you with the exact tools to sound confident and professional.
And to really build that confidence, we need to start by examining why this environment feels so hostile to the human brain in the first place.
We have to understand the fear to beat it.
Exactly. Acknowledging the neurological difficulty is the prerequisite to mastering it. And the source brings up an incredibly comforting reality right at the start. Even experts, even people who literally teach English for a living, get derailed by this.
Oh, yes. I love this part. The source shares this fantastic, deeply relatable anecdote about Leo. He was trying to practice making a restaurant reservation in English.
Right, and he's an expert.
He is, but he got incredibly nervous. He kept saying, and on the line. And then the restaurant simply asked, "May I have your name, please?"
Arguably the easiest question in the world.
The most fundamental question in human interaction. And he went completely, utterly silent for 3 agonizing seconds. Just dead, heavy air on the line while his sister laughed at him.
I mean, 3 seconds of silence in a face-to-face conversation is just a thoughtful pause.
Right, you're just thinking.
But 3 seconds of silence on a phone call feels like an absolute collapse of reality.
It's an eternity. But I want to dig into the mechanics of that freeze. I mean, how does someone forget their own identity? What is actually happening in the brain when that silence hits?
Well, it really comes down to how our brains distribute cognitive load. In a physical environment, your brain relies heavily on a constant stream of visual data to regulate the interaction.
Like reading body language.
Yes.
Yep.
If someone asks your name and you pause for 3 seconds to take a breath, your body language is screaming to the other person, I am still here, I am processing, I am about to speak.
You might look up slightly or open your mouth.
Exactly. All of that is called back channeling. It maintains the social tether. But on the phone, that entire visual feedback loop is severed.
So the brain has to work harder.
Much harder. The cognitive load rests entirely, 100%, on auditory processing. When there is silence on the line, your brain panics because in a purely auditory medium, silence historically registers as a severed connection.
Oh, like the line just went dead.
Or, in evolutionary terms, an absent signal implies danger.
Like the rustling in the bushes suddenly stopping.
Precisely. It feels incredibly heavy. You freeze because the pressure to fill the auditory void instantly overwhelms your working memory's ability to simply retrieve basic data.
You're panicking so much about the silence that you literally forget your own name.
You don't have the RAM left to remember the word Leo. This is why Leo and Tina's emphasis on a pre-planned script of phrases isn't just about being polite, it's a cognitive safety net.
I love that phrase, a cognitive safety net.
It allows you to offload the processing power of your brain so you can navigate the interaction without your amygdala completely hijacking the call.
That is a profound way to look at it. You're basically building an automated response so your brain doesn't have to render the graphics and the physics of the conversation at the same time.
That's a great way to put it. And there's another fascinating hurdle regarding cognitive overload from the source, the speed barrier.
Oh, right. Fast talkers.
Yeah, Tina mentions she recently called her doctor's office, and the receptionist spoke so fast that she had to ask her to repeat everything twice.
And again, she's an English expert.
Right, and it illustrates the second major neurological hurdle of the phone dialect, pacing and parsing. When you listen to someone in person, your brain is actually reading their lips to help parse the boundaries between syllables.
Wait, really? We read lips even if we aren't deaf?
Yes, it's called the McGurk effect. Our vision heavily influences what we hear. So when you remove the visual of the mouth moving, your brain has a much harder time chopping the continuous stream of sound into distinct words.
So a fast talker on the phone is objectively harder to understand than that exact same fast talker standing right in front of you.
Absolutely. The sensory input is slashed in half.
So the environment is naturally hostile to comprehension. Given all of that, the absolute best way to prevent that dreaded 3-second freeze is to have total reflexive mastery over the very first words out of your mouth.
You have to nail the opening.
Yes. Which brings us to segment 2, the anatomy of the opening. How do we actually pick up the device and initiate the dialect?
Well, the opening is everything, right?
Yeah.
It dictates the trajectory, the tone, and the power dynamic of the entire call. It establishes your professional identity instantly.
The source breaks this down really elegantly based on context. If you are answering a personal call or an unknown number, the standard advice is a simple, "Hello, this is Tina."
It's polite, immediate, and removes the guesswork for the caller.
They don't have to ask, "Is Tina there?" You've already answered the unasked question. But when you move into a corporate or business environment, that opening scales up.
It becomes highly structured.
Right, you shift to a framework like, "Good morning, this is Tina speaking," or "Tina Chen, how may I help you?"
The architecture of that corporate greeting is incredibly efficient. The addition of the temporal greeting like good morning, combined with the immediate offer of utility.
"How may I help you?"
Exactly. It instantly shifts the framework from a personal connection to a professional service. It signals to the caller's brain that they have successfully reached a functional business entity.
Now, I want to push back on one specific phrasing here because I think a lot of people trick over it.
Okay, let's hear it.
When discussing how to identify yourself, the source notes that this is Leo and Leo speaking are both perfectly fine. But honestly, saying Leo speaking has always felt completely redundant to me.
Redundant? How so?
I mean, obviously it's you speaking. I can hear your vocal cords vibrating. Why append the word speaking to your own name? Isn't that just adding unnecessary words?
It does seem redundant if you look at it strictly through the lens of literal definition. Obviously, you are currently speaking,
Right.
But linguistically, within the specific dialect of the phone, it serves a highly specialized function. Speaking is the perfect concise response when someone specifically asks for you.
Oh, like if they say, "May I speak to Leo?"
Yes. The response isn't, "Yes, I am Leo." The response is simply, speaking. It's an auditory shorthand. It does not mean I am currently using my vocal cords.
So it's not a verb describing your action, it's a status update.
That's brilliant. Yes, a status update. It means you have successfully reached the target individual you requested. The connection is verified.
That makes total sense when you frame it like military radio protocol. Target acquired, connection verified.
And by appending speaking to your name, the moment you answer the phone, "Good morning, Leo speaking," you are proactively answering the question, "Is this Leo?" before they even have to ask.
It is an act of profound efficiency. Okay, so that's answering. But what about when you are the one dialing the number?
When you are initiating the call, the rule is incredibly strict. The caller must always identify themselves first.
You do not wait for the person answering to interrogate you.
Right. Because you are the one penetrating their environment, ringing a bell in their office or their pocket. The social burden of establishing identity falls 100% on you.
You jump right in. Hello, this is Leo calling. Or, hi, this is Leo from Daily English Talk.
You have to remove the mystery immediately to lower their defenses.
And if you are calling a business, you must immediately attach your clear purpose to your identity. You say, hello, I'd like to make a reservation, or I'm calling to schedule an appointment.
This is a masterstroke in reducing the cognitive load for the receiver. Think about the receptionist at a busy clinic.
Oh, yeah, they must get hundreds of calls a day.
If you just say, "Hi, this is Tina," their brain immediately starts scrambling through a massive decision tree.
Yeah.
Are you a patient with an emergency? A pharmaceutical rep?
By immediately giving your purpose, you instantly route their brain to the exact mental flowchart they need. You save them from the panic of ambiguity.
Exactly. But of course, all of that precision instantly evaporates the moment the person who answers the phone isn't the person you actually need to speak to.
Ah, yes. You're suddenly forced to pivot from greeting mode to navigation mode. You've opened the door, but now you're standing in a maze of receptionists and automated menus.
Navigating roadblocks. This is where the specialized vocabulary of phone English becomes critical.
Okay, let's unpack this navigation process. You've stated who you are, now you need to locate the target. You use phrases like, may I speak to Sarah, please? Or, is Dr. Johnson available?
And available is a very important word there.
It seems so simple, but it does a lot of heavy lifting, doesn't it?
It really does. Available is arguably the golden word in corporate phone navigation because of its diplomatic ambiguity.
Diplomatic ambiguity, I like that.
It encompasses a vast array of physical and temporal states. It means free, ready to talk in the office, or simply not currently drowning in a crisis.
So it's polite.
Very polite. By asking if someone is available, you give the gatekeeper the perfect linguistic out to say no without having to reveal the person's exact whereabouts or excuse.
But the absolute magic phrase, the essential phrasal verb from the text for actually moving through the maze is put me through.
Could you put me through to the sales department?
Exactly. Why do we say put me through?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of technological history, the spatial metaphor is beautiful. It implies that the phone system is a physical barrier, a wall of circuits, and you need the operator to physically push your connection through a tunnel.
It's the ghost of the early 20th century switchboard operator.
Exactly. You can practically see the operator physically grabbing the patch cable and plugging your voice into the brass jack on the wall.
We still use that spatial language because it's universally understood, but of course, the attempt to put you through usually results in hitting the most universally despised roadblock in all of human communication.
The dreaded hold.
Yes. The auditory waiting room. The phrases surrounding it are simple enough. Could you hold for a moment, please? Or the casual, hang on a second. But the actual lived experience is universally agonizing.
It usually involves being subjected to deeply compressed elevator music.
Or a repetitive loop telling you how important your call is. The source notes that Leo once waited on hold with an airline for 45 minutes.
45 minutes of his one precious life vaporized.
Why is this specific experience so uniquely infuriating?
Because a hold is fundamentally a suspension of your human agency. In a physical waiting room, you can read a magazine, you can pace, you can walk up to the desk and look at the receptionist to gauge how long it will be.
You have spatial awareness.
Right. On hold, you're trapped in an auditory void. You
What?
cannot hang up. Because of the sunk cost fallacy, you will lose your place in line. But you also cannot move forward. You are paralyzed.
Which is why the etiquette surrounding the hold is so rigidly enforced. The person initiating the hold must ask for permission, and crucially, they must validate your sacrifice the moment they return.
You can't just come back and say, okay, I'm back. You have to deploy phrases like, "Thank you for holding," or "Sorry to keep you waiting."
It restores the balance of power, right?
Exactly. It acknowledges that they suffered a micro-injustice for your convenience.
But let's say you survive the hold. The music stops, the line clicks, and the gatekeeper returns only to tell you that your target simply isn't there. I'm sorry, she's not available right now.
And suddenly, you are face-to-face with the art of the voicemail.
Leaving a voicemail terrifies people almost as much as the live conversation. I know people who will literally hang up the moment they hear the beep and just send a text instead.
Because a voicemail forces you into a monologue, a live conversation is a dance. You make a move, they respond, you adjust. A voicemail is a solo performance into a dark room.
You have zero back-channel feedback to tell you if you are rambling, which is why the source provides a strict, almost mathematical formula for a good voicemail.
Keep it to 20 to 30 seconds.
That feels incredibly short.
It is an exercise in extreme discipline. In that tiny window, you must state your name, your phone number, your reason for calling, and a clear callback request. The biggest mistake people make is treating the voicemail as a substitute for the conversation itself.
They start explaining the entire backstory of their problem.
Right. The goal of a voicemail is purely to set the agenda for the future conversation.
It's exactly like a micro-podcast. It needs an intro, a clear narrative hook for why you're calling, and a call to action at the end without rambling on to tell the whole story.
That's a great analogy.
But there's a mechanical detail here that is so vital, and it has to do with the pacing of numbers. The source emphasizes that you must speak your numbers slowly, and you must repeat them twice.
My number is 555123. That's 555123.
I think we forget how hard it is to process raw numbers purely through audio.
It all comes back to cognitive load. With words, our brains fill in the blanks using context clues. But raw numbers contain zero context. A 5 is just a 5. If they miss one digit, the whole string is useless.
Right, there's no close enough with a phone number.
So by slowing down and repeating the number, you are giving the listener the physical time required to locate a pen, uncap it, write the first few digits, and then verify it. It's a profound act of professional empathy.
Engineering your audio to be user-friendly. I love that.
But navigating the maze is one thing. What happens when the obstacle is the audio itself?
Oh, this brings us to troubleshooting. Bad connections and fast talkers. Total audio failure. We've all been there. You are straining your ear, but you simply cannot hear the other person.
It's so frustrating.
Now, my natural instinct is to just state the objective reality. You're too quiet, but the polite phrase from the text is, "Could you speak up, please?" Or, "The connection isn't very good. Could you repeat that?"
Yes, that is the polished approach.
But frankly, telling an adult to speak up feels incredibly patronizing to me. It feels like I'm a kindergarten teacher commanding a child to project their voice. Why is speak up considered the magic, polite solution here?
I understand why it feels commanding, but if we connect this to the bigger picture of cultural politeness, it makes sense. "You're too quiet" operates as an accusation.
Like it's their fault.
Yes, it points the finger directly at them, implying a personal failure. Speak up is culturally preferred because it subtly frames a request as an actionable favor they can perform to rescue the situation.
Okay, I see.
But the real masterstroke is combining it with, "The connection isn't very good."
Ah, you introduce a scapegoat.
Precisely. You blame the infrastructure. It's not my fault for having terrible hearing, and it's not your fault for mumbling. It's the cell tower's fault. Let us unite as a team to defeat the bad connection.
That is brilliant. You are literally triangulating the blame onto the telecom provider.
Exactly. Now, what about the speed problem? When the other person is talking too fast, like Tina's doctor's receptionist?
Right. The absolute worst thing you can do in that situation is pretend you understand. You just say, uh-huh, yeah, okay.
Which is so dangerous.
Yeah.
You end up agreeing to a contract you didn't hear or showing up on the wrong day.
So, how do you pump the brakes on a fast talker? The text pulls these exact phrases. "Could you speak more slowly?" Or, "I didn't catch that."
"I didn't catch that" is arguably the single most important diplomatic phrase in this toolkit.
Let me push back on this too, because I want to understand the mechanics of the politeness. I didn't catch that. Sounds almost folksy. If I didn't hear someone, why not just say, "What?"
Well, "what" is maximally efficient, sure. But saying "what" on a professional call sounds incredibly abrupt and rude. It feels like a verbal slap.
It sounds like a parent scolding a teenager. What did you just say?
Exactly. It completely disrupts the professional equilibrium.
Mm.
But if we unpack the emotional intelligence behind "I didn't catch that," It is truly masterful. Think about the physical metaphor of catching a ball.
Okay.
If I throw a baseball to you and you drop it by saying I didn't catch that, you are voluntarily bending down and taking the blame for the dropped ball.
Oh, wow.
You aren't saying you threw it too fast or you spoke too fast. You are placing the blame on the mechanical act of hearing itself, on your own momentary inability to catch the words.
It preserves their dignity entirely while getting them to repeat themselves. It is a linguistic shield. I love that.
It's very disarming.
So once you've navigated all of this, heard the data, and accomplished your goal, you face the most socially awkward part of any phone call, getting off the line.
The art of the graceful exit. You can't just hang up. You have to announce the landing.
Right, you can't just say, okay, task complete, bye, and hang up. That feels violent. The source provides perfect transition phrases. Well, I should let you go. I won't keep you any longer. Or, I think that covers everything.
Notice the psychological framing of those first two phrases. They are entirely focused on the other person's time and convenience.
You frame your exit as an act of consideration for their schedule.
Even if you are the one desperate to get off the phone. It is a deeply polite fiction.
It is a total fiction. But what if you actually need to cut the call short immediately? The rule here is that you must provide a reason. I'm sorry, but I have another call, or I have a meeting in 5 minutes, so I need to go.
Giving a concrete reason provides an external justification. It tells them, I am not rejecting you personally. I am simply bowing to my schedule.
But before you press the red button, the expert highlights a critical professional move, the summary or confirmation.
Yes, confirming details before hanging up. Just to confirm, the meeting is at 3 p.m., correct?
It prevents disastrous misunderstandings.
Because there is no visual record of the call. By explicitly demanding verbal confirmation, you are syncing the databases before the audio tether is cut.
And finally, the sign-off. Professional farewells like thank you for calling or thanks for your time versus personal ones like talk to you soon or take care.
The sign-off reinforces either the business boundaries or the ongoing emotional relationship.
Okay, so those are the foundational mechanics. Now let's take these tools and pressure test them in high-stakes, real-world scenarios.
Yes, specific, task-oriented logistics.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's dive into appointments in restaurants. When booking, use I'd like to schedule an appointment, but the expert clarifies a vital, non-negotiable difference here. The difference between rescheduling and canceling.
It is a critical distinction. If you use the wrong word, you can cause massive confusion.
Right. If you call and say you need to cancel an appointment, you are destroying that event entirely. You are telling their database to delete the record.
But if you say you need to reschedule, you are keeping the intention of the appointment alive, just requesting to shift its physical coordinates to a new time.
If you cancel with a specialist doctor by mistake, you might have to wait 6 months to get back on the calendar.
Exactly. Cancel is termination. Reschedule is modification.
There are also some key vocabulary phrases here, like make it, as in, I won't be able to make it on Friday.
It just means to physically attend or arrive. But saying I can't make it carries a subtle apologetic tone compared to the blunt harshness of I am not coming.
And if a restaurant is fully booked or booked up, that means 0 tables are available. In retail, it's about being in stock or out of stock.
Do you carry Nike shoes in size 10?
Yes, they are in stock. It's beautiful, hyper-efficient shorthand for supply chain availability.
But let's escalate the stakes even higher. The scenario that makes everyone nervous, calling customer service to complain.
Oh, the battlefield.
The source explicitly states to stay polite but clear.
Hmm.
But let me ask you, is it really effective to say something formal like, I'm not satisfied with this, or this is unacceptable, rather than just expressing your natural anger?
Like yelling.
Yeah. If I'm stranded at an airport, shouldn't I sound mad so they understand the severity? If I sound calm, won't they just ignore me?
This raises an important question about how power operates on the phone. Expressing natural anger yelling might feel cathartic, but strategically, it is a weak play.
When you lose your temper, the representative immediately categorizes you as an emotional, irrational threat. They go into defensive mode. But when you stay chillingly calm and say, this is unacceptable, it commands far more authority.
Because it's not a tantrum.
Exactly. It shifts the dynamic from an emotional outburst to a professional, objective standard. It forces the manager to respond to the cold logic of the situation.
You are telling them they failed to meet the standard. That is so much more intimidating. Now, briefly, the ultimate high-stakes call. emergencies.
Yeah.
One in the U.S., nine in the U.K., two in Europe.
In a true emergency, etiquette is actively dangerous.
The rule is rigid. Speak clearly, stay calm, state this is an emergency, give your location first, and then explain what happened.
You must prioritize the location data, because if the call drops, they need to know where to send the ambulance.
Pure, unfiltered data delivery. But while emergencies are stressful, modern technology has created an entirely new arena of phone anxiety, working from home.
The modern audio arena, the conference call.
Yes. It has made conference calls the new standard, and it is a minefield of awkwardness. The source highlights specific etiquette. Because there are no visual cues, you must say your name before speaking.
This is Leo. I think we should revise the budget.
It feels unnatural, but without it, you are just a disembodied voice in the dark.
It maps the audio to a specific identity.
You also must mute yourself to avoid background noise. But that creates a problem. How do you jump in when everyone is muted?
Polite interruptions.
Right. Phrases like, sorry to interrupt, but, or if I may add something.
It acts as an auditory warning flare, giving the speaker a split second to yield the floor gracefully. Otherwise, you get that chaotic collision of voices where everyone apologizes simultaneously.
But even with good etiquette, the tech fails.
Yeah.
Signal degradation. When the Wi-Fi drops, you use phrases like, I'm losing you, you're breaking up, or I can only hear every other word.
Again, we maintain the polite fiction that we are both innocent victims of the technology gods. We don't say, your internet is terrible.
And the ultimate tech failure. The accidental call. The pocket dial, or butt dial. The source says to just apologize quickly. Sorry, that was a pocket dial, or my apologies, I didn't mean to call you.
Because an unexplained pocket dial creates a narrative void. They might think you're in trouble. The quick apology resolves the narrative arc instantly.
So we've covered everything from opening a call to surviving a disconnected conference line. Let's pull all this together into some overarching golden rules. The pro tips for polish.
General professional tips to elevate your presence.
Right. Find a quiet place. Don't eat or drink while talking. But here's my favorite one. Smile while you talk. The source says people can literally hear the smile in your voice. Is that biologically true?
It is absolutely true. When you physically smile, it changes the geometric shape of your mouth and your vocal tract. It alters the resonance of your voice.
The acoustic geometry?
Yes. The sound waves are brighter, slightly higher in pitch. The human ear is evolved to pick up these microacoustic changes.
So smiling is a physical audio setting you apply to your hardware. I love it. Also, the power of notes. Have a pen and paper ready to capture names, dates, and numbers.
It ties back to the confirmation step. You can't confirm information if you didn't write it down. You can't rely on short-term memory on the phone.
Then there is the follow-up, emphasizing the phrase, get back to, as in, I'll get back to you tomorrow.
And if you promise to send an email or call back, you must do it. Following up proves you are reliable.
It grounds the ephemeral conversation into concrete reality. Finally, a formal vocabulary note. The distinction between the formal inquire versus the casual ask.
I'm calling to inquire about the job opening.
Right. It means the same thing, but inquire elevates the entire interaction. It signals you are an educated professional operating at a higher register.
A tiny vocabulary swap that pays massive dividends.
So what does this all mean? Mastering these phrases doesn't just give you words, it gives you the confidence to navigate any auditory interaction without freezing for 3 seconds in terror.
Gives you the cognitive safety net you need.
Exactly. Well, thank you all for joining us on this extensive deep dive into the hidden architecture of phone English.
It's been fantastic, and I want to leave the listener with a final thought to ponder. In an era completely dominated by text messages, Slack, and emails, the art of a clear, confident, and professional live phone call is becoming increasingly rare.
Oh, it really is.
Could it be that mastering this slightly terrifying old-school form of communication is actually the ultimate professional superpower to make you stand out today?
That is a provocative thought. If everyone else is hiding in their inbox, the person who can confidently pick up the phone holds the real power. So the next time your phone rings, apply these tools. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.